Hello and welcome back to the Elsie McClure version. We are in Acts chapter 23 today. Little backtracking, okay? Whole riot was just thrown in Jerusalem. Paul was doing purifying to prove to them that he still agrees with the law as a Jew. They thought he brought Gentiles. They make a big fit. Tribunal comes and takes him. He's about to get flogged. He says to the tribunal, yo, you gonna do this to a Roman citizen? The guy's like, crap, Roman citizen. And now the tribunal still wants to know what's going on. I think it's the tribunal. Yeah, the tribunal. He still wants to know what's going on. So he's like, all right, bet. Paul, I want you to come and sit before the chief priests and tell us what's going on. So now we find ourselves in chapter 23, verse 1. And looking intently at the council, Paul said, brothers, I have lived my life before God in all good conscience up to this day. And the high priest Ananias, this guy be coming back, commanded those who stood by him to strike him on the mouth. And Paul said to him, God is going to strike you, you whitewashed wall. Are you sitting to judge me according to the law, and yet contrary to the law you order me to be struck? Okay, you know what's ironic? Ananias, I'm pretty sure, is the one who in chapter 4, let's see if we're right here. He said to them, go back, sorry. Chapter 4, maybe not. But Ananias, I think, is the one who was like, if this is of man, it won't succeed. But if this is God, you won't be able to stop it. Anyway. It's a wild goose chase right now. It's easier to just Google it. But, so. Oh, Ananias is also a name for the guy that was, struck down. So, don't be confused with those two. This is the Ananias of the temple. Anyway. Moving on. Commanded those, so he tried to strike him. He said, he's so funny. Those who stood by said, would you revile God's high priest? And Paul said, I did not know, brothers, that he was the high priest, for it is written, you shall not speak evil of a ruler of your people. Now when Paul, he was like, oh, my bad. Now, when Paul perceived that one part was Sadducees and the other Pharisees, he cried out in the councils, brothers, I am a Pharisee, a son of Pharisees. It is with respect to the hope of the resurrection of the dead that I am on trial. This man, Paul, he really said, let me stir the pot. He really said, let me stir the pot. So something you need to know, guys. Sadducees did not believe in the resurrection of life. They believe this is it. This is all we get, right? Pharisees believe in the afterlife and the resurrection of life. So Paul's saying, I am a Pharisee, and it is because of the resurrection of life that I'm on trial. Knew what he was about to do. So funny. Oh, man. And when he had said this, a dissension arose between the Pharisees and the Sadducees, and the assembly was divided. For the Sadducees say that there is no resurrection, nor angel, nor spirit, but the Pharisees acknowledge them all. Then a great clamor arose, and some of the scribes of the Pharisees' party stood up and contended sharply. We find nothing wrong in this man. What if the spirit or an angel spoke to him? And when the decision became violent, the tribune, afraid that Paul would be torn to pieces by them, commanded the soldiers to go down and take him away from among them by force and bring him into the barracks. So he was near them, so they could have slapped him. I don't know if they did. The following night, the Lord stood by him and said, take courage, for as you have testified to the facts about me in Jerusalem, so you must testify also in Rome. I love it's in red, because it's Jesus. Love that. But also so hard to be told that, because you know what that means. He gonna be in prison. 12. When it was day, the Jews made a plot and bound themselves by an oath to neither eat nor drink till they had killed Paul. Terrible decision on their part. There was more than 40 who made this conspiracy. They went to the chief priests and elders and said, we have strictly bound ourselves by an oath to taste no food till we have killed Paul. Dang, you think that the Old Testament would have told them, yo, don't do that? Also, what's your obsession with killing people? Verse 13. Now, therefore, along with the council, give notice to the tribune to bring him down to you, as though you were going to determine his case more exactly, and we are ready to kill him before he comes near. Now, the son of Paul's sister. Isn't that fun? Paul had a sister. So his nephew, Paul's nephew, heard of their ambush, and so he went and entered the barracks and told Paul. Paul called one of the centurions and said, take this young man to the tribune, for he has something to tell him. So he took him and brought him to the tribune and said, Paul the prisoner called me and asked me to bring this young man to you. He has something to say to you. The tribune took him by the hand and, going alongside, asked him privately, what is it that you have to tell me? And he said, the Jews have agreed to ask you to bring Paul down to the council tomorrow, as though they were going to inquire somewhat more closely about him. But do not be persuaded by them, for more than 40 of their men are lying in ambush for him, who have bound themselves by an oath to neither eat nor drink till they have killed him. And now they are ready, waiting for your consent. So the tribune dismissed the young man, charging him, tell no one that you have informed me of these things. Then he called 2 of the centurions and said, get ready 200 soldiers with 70 horsemen and 200 spearmen to go as far as Caesarea at the 3rd hour of the night. I would like to say that's overkill. That seems like a lot of freaking people for one man, but I guess he doesn't want casualties on his end. 24. Also provide mounts for Paul to ride and bring him safely to Felix, the governor. And he wrote a letter to this effect. Claudius Lysias, to his excellency, the governor Felix, greetings. This man was seized by the Jews and was about to be killed by them when I came upon them and the soldiers and rescued him, having learned that he was a Roman citizen. So Roman citizenship is really working in handy with Paul right now. Also, he's basically under witness protection. But also it's a bigger deal if the Jews kill a Roman citizen, the Romans have to protect that citizen. This is very interesting. 28. In desiring to know the charge for which they were accusing him, I brought him down to the council. I found that he was being accused about questions of their law, but charged with nothing deserving death or imprisonment. And when it was disclosed to me that there would be a plot against the man, I sent him to you at once, ordering his accusers also to state before you what they have against him. So the soldiers, according to their instructions, took Paul and brought him by night to Antipatris. And the next day they returned to the barracks, letting the horsemen go on with him. Okay, so the soldiers take him to the barracks. No. Yeah. And then, no. They take him to Antipatris, and then they return. The soldiers return back to the barracks. And then the horsemen go on with him, which was 70 horsemen. So the 200 spearmen and the 200 soldiers scooch back out on there. Verse 33. When they had come to Caesarea and delivered the letter to the governor, they presented Paul. So basically they got him out of danger, and then it was just right on. Delivered the letter to the governor. They presented Paul also before him. On reading the letter, he asked what the province he was from, and when he learned that he was from Cilicia, he said, I will give you a hearing when your accusers arrive. And he commanded him to be guarded in Herod's praetorium. So now they just wait till the Pharisees come, which is kind of funny. I can't lie. Verse 3 really had me cackling. Then Paul said to him, God is going to strike you, you whitewashed wall. You whitewashed wall. Man, what an insult. And you know what's confusing, that part? Because he really is just oh, would you revile God's high priest? And Paul said, I did not know, brothers, that he was the high priest. For it is written, you shall not speak evil of a ruler of your people. So I don't think he was being sarcastic at that point. It seems like he was genuinely repenting in humility. But also he had a Jesus moment there. You brood of vipers. Oh, man. Dang, Paul is so smart. He really knows how to not manipulate, but he knows how to cause dissension in the enemy's camp. Like, he's got those weapons. He knows what makes him tick. This man is like freaking genius. Like, I don't think you guys understand. He knew all the buttons to push. Okay, here's my question for you today. Would you do the right thing and be like Paul's nephew? Would you go and tell people and warn people, even if it potentially cost you your life? Would you still think of others that highly? All right, talk to you tomorrow.